All right, we are live. What's going on, fellow traders? Let me get this tweeted out here. All right, all right. Right on, right on. Whew. I hope everybody had a great trading day today. Wow. Another fun one, right? So the market ended up down today, roughly 14 points. But it was mostly because of the gap down, right? I mean, there was really no catalyst or anything like that. It was just kind of just a gap down and just chopped all day today. Just kind of really kind of choppy stuff. So it gives the month kind of like this. So on the weekly chart, last week we had, 2 weeks ago we had this inside week, right? And then it took the week up from here, right? So inside week up, and now we have another inside week kind of brewing. So that's kind of where we're at right now. But very, very narrow range so far. So here's today. Today we finished with a inside day, right? It's also a very narrow range, right? The range is 10.67, right? So that's an NR7 inside day. If you guys remember when we last talked about inside days, this gives us a very narrow range day. And so a lot of times from these narrow range inside days, and this is an NR7 day, narrowest range in 7 days, and actually more than that, but sometimes we get some big moves off of that. So we got some interesting stuff going on. Apparently Powell is talking tomorrow morning, so I mean, who knows? He might give more kind of words, dialogue that would hint at maybe possible rate cuts. So it might actually start, getting the market moving again. But either way, it did seem today like it was waiting for something, and that something really never happened today. So even the algos were sleeping today. So anyway, inside day, interestingly enough, in the bottom lower shadow, right? So we talk about this a lot when we have open gaps. So the gap got filled on Friday. But a lot of times we get price discovery in those ranges. So it's very interesting that we gapped right down to that open gap. So a lot of times when you see a prior gap, right, you'll start to see like more, kind of price action that happens in that area, right? So here's like a gap down here, and you had kind of a test here, and you kind of hung out in this area a little bit. So a lot of times you see that with open gaps. So and there are a lot of open gaps below. So we've got a big open gap here on the daily. Here's another closing gap, another open gap here, another closing gap here. So there's a lot of gaps below. So right now futures are down a little bit. So we'll see, if it starts to make progress to getting those filled. So that's kind of where we're at right now. In terms of the price action today, I mean, if you guys, followed me on the public Twitter today, I talked about a lot of triple, like Apple had like a triple inside 60. SPX usually kind of does its own thing. It did give an inside 60 here. Occasionally we'll get a triple inside 60 on the SPX. But usually after that we'll catch some sort of move. Usually. Especially if we know something's coming, like an announcement or something like that. But right today, just took the inside down a little bit, and kind of hung out in that range. Gave you another inside bar right here, but tried to break to the downside, failed. Tried to break the upside, kind of gave a harami bar right here. Sort of broke up a little bit and kind of came back in. So just this really nasty, choppy day today. Just take a look at the price action. These are the levels that we look at. These are the ones that Positive Trend subscribers get, before the market opens, and so it just gives us some tools to work with. These are your floor pivot levels, a couple other key levels as well. So today, let's just take a look. So today we gapped down right with the rest of the futures, and the weekly pivot was right here about 29.80. So first bar was really bearish today, so that was kind of a set the tone for the day, but it put a bottom shadow at the S1 level. So it was possible that there was a bounce there, but instead it just kind of chopped around that level and finally broke out of this downward trend line and gave a push to the upside. And then from there, right, just kind of chopped around those levels again basically all day. And that was it, and then kind of tried to work its way up, but I mean, just not that usual kind of action that you see, with the algos, pushing things up and down and just big moves. It was just kind of blah. So that's kind of where we're at. But anyway, so it's fun. We'll see inside day today. We'll see if we can get some action tomorrow, maybe a break up or below that level, and kind of see where tomorrow takes us. So Powell's going to be talking a couple times this week. He's going to be talking Wednesday. He's going to be talking Thursday. So who knows? It might put the market in some crazy swings, or it might just chop her out all week. So we'll see. But earnings season is kind of starting. Next week is all the financials that really kind of kicks it off. But we do have Pepsi reporting tomorrow. And there's some other earnings this week that should be pretty interesting. So we'll keep an eye on those, of course, with the 15 orb watch list. So today, actually, real quick before we kind of move into our discussion, just the 15 orbs today. This is the list that I tweet these out publicly, but I get into a little more detail in the private Twitter. which for positive trend subscribers. And so, just for instance, today, I mean, Roku was not on the list. It has been on the list before we caught this back when it was like $89, and now it was up $5 today. It's up over 103 today. But just to kind of show you, there had a lot of volume on this first 15-minute bar right here. So that's your orb, your opening range bar. That had a big move today. Shop was pretty big. That was a 15 orb, qualifier today. So it had here's your 15-minute orb high and low, right? Kind of chopped around it for a little bit and then launched, but it was a pretty big launch. It was like almost like 8 points. So it was a pretty big deal right there. A little bit of a pullback and then up, and then it kind of finished back down just above the 15 orb high. So is that, and then Apple was another one, but it was kind of boring today. So, but anyway, just kind of quick review of that. So that is that in a nutshell. So just today, I want to talk about more crossover stuff. And so these are just tools. And one of the things we mentioned yesterday is right, indicators lag price, right? So VWAP, it has a price and volume. Moving averages are the average of the previous prices, right? So previous bars, and they change, of course, every time frame you go. But the main thing is when we're looking at crossovers, right, of different different indicators, it's always going to lag price a little bit, right? Because it's calculated based on what the final closing prices are. So it's really tough to anticipate instantly unless we know the price action of what's happening, right? So I mean, even here, like if we look at here AMD, right? We were talking about the 3 EMA. VWAP, crosses. Well, one of the things we can notice here on AMD is that we had an inside 5-minute bar right here, right? And this also happened to correspond to the 15 orb low. It also was at the 60 anchor low. So there's a lot of levels that were really important down here. And if you kind of look at this 3 EMA, right, you can see it kind of broke down a little bit, but then we had this inside 5 right here, right? So nice price action as it started to work its way up. Then we got that gold cross off the indicator. So you can see how it lagged the breakout of this bar. So this is just to show you that a lot of times you can kind of see as they start to compress like this, we're kind of leading into that area, so inside bar. And then if we trade that price action to get out of a key level like the 60 anchor high, then that can kind of trigger, and then we get extra confidence, right, as we have those breakouts on those levels. So that kind of gave a nice push up to those areas to attempt to try to get to that 15 orb high. We traded this in the room, made some profit off of this today, and then some held and got a nice push at the end of the day on the 15 orb break, right, and then got some kind of follow through at the end of the day today. So pretty interesting stuff. So anyway, so these are the different type of crossovers that we talk about, right? So they always lag price. So another one that I want to talk about today that is kind of interesting is the stochastic, right? And so let me actually pull this up real quick. Let me pull up the stuff here. Okay, so obviously you can pause right here, review this. Just saying everything we're talking about is for educational purposes only, not for investment advice, right? So today we're going to talk about day trading crossovers with the stochastic. Okay. So with the stochastic, if you go to different tools, right, you can look at, there's a fast and a slow stochastic. So this is right off of Investopedia here, quick search on it. So the main difference between fast and slow stochastics is summed up in one word: sensitivity. So the fast stochastic is more sensitive, and the slow stochastic to changes in the price of the underlying security that result in many transaction signals. And so it's very much like the EMA versus the SMA, right? So the EMA is kind of like the fast stochastic, or it's really sensitive to price, and the SMA is similar to the slow stochastic. So picking which one is a kind of a big deal. So I'm just gonna kind of run through this. So the stochastic itself, it has two pieces, right? Two bars. So if we kind of go, let's pull it up right here. So let's pull up the stochastic here real quick. So we go studies, and just give it a second here. All right, so instead of edits, I'm just going to edit stage real quick. So let's just go, let's pull up the fast stochastic. It's kind of the main one I'm going to talk about today. Anyway, so you can see here, right, we have the K, the percent K is the red, right, and the percent D is the purple, okay? So the K and the purple. So the K is basically the one that we're looking at, okay? And then the purple, and just to kind of sum this up real quick, I won't read through the whole thing for you. You guys can go back and review it if you'd like. Ultimately, right, K is a special calculation, right, and it's basically saying if you're over 80, you're overbought, right? If you're under 20, you're oversold, essentially, right? And the D, the percent D, is just a is just the 3-period moving average of the percent K. So it's an average of the percent K. Okay, so when we go back and look at it, that's the difference, right? That's why it looks like this, right? So this percent K is a special calculation. We won't go into the formula here. The purple line is just the moving average of this, right? So this is the average of the percent K. Okay, and so it's really interesting when we look at our crossovers here of the percent K and the percent D. Okay, but just to kind of get to the I'll get to it in a little bit, but honestly, using these on the lower time frames, trying to look at these crossovers really doesn't help very much, right? So unless you have price action to warrant the action, right? So if you knew here, it's like if you're at a key level and you have like your upper shadow right here, and then you're seeing a crossover here, you might want to try, right? But with options, it's really tough because this is not a very big move. It's only like 3 bars and some chop, right? So it's really tough to do that. So the further out you go in time, the better it's going to be for that. And you guys can't see anything because I have that pulled up. No, it's okay. Yeah, you're good. All right, cool. So we'll get to that. I'll touch on that in a second. So both the fast and slow stochastic have the percent K and the percent D. So the percent K of the slow stochastic is the same as the percent D on the fast stochastic. So just kind of a little trivia right there. So that percent K when you go on the slow is the same as percent D on the fast. So kind of interesting stuff. For me, I found that the fast stochastic works great with geometric levels like Andrew's pitchfork. Okay, so let's take a look. Let me go here to our SPX chart shop, but you can do it with anything. We can even do it with shop. It's fun. So anyway, so you can see here on this this large chart, I have. And it works well with channels too. But I have the pitchfork up. That's this blue line. So I went to a pivot back in history to kind of the main pivot here back in 2018 to the low Christmas reversal here. So we have the pitchfork here, right? So when we get to a key pitchfork level, oftentimes we will see the fast stochastic on the larger time frames start to give us clues, right? And in this case, we really don't look for activity on those crossovers because it could get pretty crazy. But we look for a crossover of the after the crossover of this, we look for a crossover of the overbought and oversold levels. And so here you can see this pink line here is the upper midpoint line of the pitchfork. Okay, obviously it's very important, right? Here is a resistance level here, and now we're back at resistance again. So the stochastic can help you give you clues if you're going to get follow through. So when you can start to see this curl over up here and then the crossover over the 80 percentile, right? You can start to see that we get a little bit of follow through to those areas. And now we actually came back to the pitchfork line here, right? And we have oversold levels, which gave a curling over move, and then there was a crossover with the K and the D, and then that moved back up, right? So again, same thing happened up here, right? You had kind of a curling over and then a crossover the 80, and that gave a pretty strong indication that the trend was going to continue down, right? Okay, so then moving back up, kind of get to these levels. It started to curl over here, but it kind of faked out a little bit, right? It kind of came back up. Here, this is a very clear level, right? Because it came back to the median line, and then you had this crossover here of the oversold levels, and that gave you that nice move up, ultimately all the way back to the that midpoint line. Same thing here on the daily charts on the larger time frames, but that's why we tweet these out. I like to tweet these out, all the daily charts intraday, so you can start to see like where maybe there's a pattern happening, right? So at this point, what I would look for is the percent D, which is the purple here, to start to cross over this overbought area. Once that starts to come down and starts to get here, I would assume that more gaps start getting filled, and then we might begin to work our way down to the median line here. So just something to keep in mind with that. And oh my goodness, guys, I did it this time. Anyway, sorry. So that is the trick. I've meant to carry that over. Sorry, guys. Anyway, real quick summary. Where these things curl over, right? You have the anytime you get to a key level on a geometric, right? You can start to see these the stochastic curl over, right? And so here was a little undershot of the median line, and then back up, and then here we're starting to do it. We're waiting for the percent D to start cross over the overbought level. Sorry, guys, for not having that up. Goodness gracious, just excited. Okay, so that is key. All right. So anyway, So it works great. So everybody knows it works great with geometric levels. Okay, good. So the other thing I wanted to mention here is that we can combine the fast stochastic with our VWAP crossover tool. Okay, so when we see confluence, we can have increased confidence and bigger moves on bigger time frames. This is really key too. So we just looked at the daily. All right, click that. Now you can see the chart. Okay, so if we go back to what we were talking about yesterday, where we had the VWAP crossovers, right? So here we are on the 5-minute time frame. Today it was a mess, right? I tweeted this out today. Just a total mess, right? The alligator was all choppy all day. The 3 EMA was all over the VWAP. It was just a mess day. Really, really tough to trade today because of the chop, right? But if we kind of go back and look at a little more clarity on some things. So here on Friday, let me make sure everybody can see this. Okay, so here on Friday, we had the this move here on the stochastic on the 5-minute time frame, and we started to see this crossover. So here's the golden cross here of the K over the D, right? So that's sort of an indication that there was a change going on, right? We also see the 3 EMA, may or may not, however you want to say it, crossed over the VWAP or at least tagged it, right? But this is a good indication when you can see this confluence here. Is very possibly a good reason, right, to try to take a long, right? So you have the stochastic is telling you, hey, this is oversold here. Hey, the EMA is not really crossing over here. It's starting to pull up, right? And this is, an area where you could consider taking longs, right? And this is on AMD, by the way. It's not on SPX, but you still see the idea. Because price is going to be price no matter how you look at it, right? So this is really helpful. This also helps too, and like I said on that last page, this also helps on the larger out you go on time frames. Okay, it gets rid of some of the mess, right? So obviously today was a huge mess here, right? Anytime you see all this kind of craziness, right? You just don't want to trade that, right? If you can't, right? You're starting to assume you want smooth, kind of lines here, right? Kind of smooth moves, right? Especially when you're using the stochastic, right? Here, nice and smooth. I know it's sharp here, but very smooth, easy to catch. When it starts getting all choppy like this and crazy, you don't want to trade that, right? Here, maybe possibly you had a little bit of a move here, yes, but you didn't have any confluence, right? You didn't have, everything was still trending up at the time. So that's just using those different tools. And then when you go out in time, that was the other thing I want to mention. So you get smoother moves. So if we go to the 5-day 15, the longer you go out, the smoother your lines are going to be, right? So for the most part, right? At least it gets rid of some of the noise. And then intraday, if you can catch some moves, that's helpful as well. So it just all depends on the on the time frame. You kind of see this kind of larger rounded move right here that kind of moved up, right? It's tough. A lot of this stuff is pre-market here too. So a little bit trickier on AMD, which doesn't give a lot of data all the time, but it is usually pretty active pre-market. But anyway, hopefully that helps a little bit, just to kind of show those different concepts there. Okay, so bigger moves and bigger time frames, and so those bigger time frames, I already kind of touched on it a little bit, even though I never went over to that chart. But with the on the daily chart, this really helps in the daily chart, especially if you have really nice levels, and the geometric are nice too because they kind of move in those kind of like smooth waves, right? So that's it. That's basically all I wanted to talk about tonight on the stochastic, and hopefully you guys can apply those tools a little bit in your trading. I did want to bring in the main reason I wanted to talk about today is to bring in the confluence idea with the topic that we talked about yesterday, right? So using the VWAP tool with the 3 AMA and then combining that with stochastic to give even more confidence, right? So we had a lot of chop here in the beginning of the day yesterday with AMD, right? I'm sorry, on Friday. And then we had this nice smooth line here with the stochastic, and then that corresponded with the move here on the EMA off of the VWAP, and then that gave you that nice move. And so with AMD, 30.98, all the way to 31.48 is a nice move with AMD, right? Especially with the options because they're very liquid and very smooth, right? So that just kind of gives you some ideas into that. So hopefully you guys found that helpful. At this point, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please plug those into the chat window, and I'll get to as many as I can. And we'll try to wrap up by like about 10 o'clock. I'm sorry, 10:30, just so everybody can get a good night's sleep tonight. So for some fun trading tomorrow, hopefully we'll be a little more active, more exciting tomorrow instead of an NR7 day. So anyway, Julian, what's going on? Buenas noches. It's good to see you. Harvey, how are you? Enjoy Life Apparel. Good evening. Hello. Call Saul. Won't accept pullbacks. I know. How goes the market, Mr. May? What's going on? I won't accept it. I know. I need to be a market maker, so I can just put it up for everybody. So, SMDC4, yeah, SMDC4S, what's happening? McClellan also came down today to plus 26 from plus 90 on Friday. Wow. That is a pretty big move. And the McClellan oscillator really deserves a whole discussion in its own. Manoj, what's happening? Good to see you. Appreciate you and your support. Call us all. Let's take a look. What do we got? We got Disney, Twitter, and Cron. Let's take a look. Let's see what we got. Let's go to our candlesticks today. Okay, so let's go to Diz. Down a point, man. 1.5. Let's see if it'll pull up for us. Okay, there it is. So inside day, that gives it some promise, right? So that's been the whole thing with this upward trend line, right? Until it can put in new highs, this trend line stays intact. As long as it's above it, right? There's no reason to be bearish, but now it's below it, so it's like, ugh, right? So this kind of gave like a minor pivot today, even Friday's low. Just be cautious of that 140 and 70 cents, right? If it breaks below here, it could start to push down. So that's the only thing I would be cautious about, right? So the trend line was kind of steep. But, this was kind of the first breakdown line here, came back in the range, and so now it's an inside day, and if it wants to break that to the downside, it could push down a little bit. So just be careful with that. Other than that, it might just be like a fake out move, right? Big red day inside, on Disney. Could be just an opportunity to get back in. Hopefully that's the case. Twitter. Strong move today. Oh, yeah, I know, guys. I'm so sorry. I had the wrong slide on. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so Twitter, let's see. So strong. It's been been pretty amazing after it had this kind of gap up the other day. This bar right here, inside bar. This is the same thing that AGN did right before it launched, before it had that acquisition news. It kind of gave this bar, failed to break the inside bar to the downside, gave a nice hammer off of it, and then got a nice move up today from there. It kind of chopped around a little bit, but it's got some key levels. Again, I think it eventually could work its way out of this cloud, but we'll see on that. It does have the 50 MA, just above it. So once it gets above that, in the cloud, right, it could really get up from there. And then Cron. Okay, yeah, very similar to Twitter, right? So you had that inside day here. This is just like that AGN, right? Inside day failed to break to the downside and kind of came back in. So this could get a nice move to the upside as well. So, good evening, Sarah. How's it going? Julian, so I usually limited one of the lines just to show one line. Yeah, you're talking about on the stochastic. So real quick, you can do that a couple different ways. Let me show you. Yeah, it depends how you like to trade it. If you like the crossovers here, with the DI, the percent K and the percent D, you can do that. If you right click on it, right, like you said, you can actually, like you said, if you just want to keep the fast, you just remove that and show plot like that and just show one of them, right? Kind of makes it really smooth. That's very nice. Yeah, very nice, right? Because typically the one just kind of trails the other one too, so. But if you can get some confluence there, like here, right? Yeah, this kind of with the VWAP and the 3 AMA. So nice stuff. Sorry, Larbe. Sorry about that. I know I did the thing. I forgot to click over, and I was just checking on that. But sorry, Sarah. Yeah. Sorry, Larb. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Julian. Sorry. Enjoy life, Peril. Yep. Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Sorry, couldn't see the chart. Sorry. Yep. Same here. Sorry. Slow stochastic smooths out the lines. Right. Exactly. Slow stochastic, it does smooth it out. Right. That is exactly right, Albert. Yep. Session. Yeah. Let's take a Lulu. Thanks, guys. Sorry, I caught that a little bit late there. So Lulu. Lululemon. Very nice. Very nice. Let's see. Let's take a look. Where's my daily? Here. That's Cron. Sorry, I didn't have that other one linked. Oh, wow. Wow, big move on Lulu today. Wow. Yeah, so not quite an inside, reversal here. The low here on this one was 180.80, 180.70. Lulu's tough to trade, but it did give a nice northern doji here and got some nice follow through today. Looks like it filled a gap today too, which is pretty significant. So got that gap fill momentum on that. So very nice. Yeah, it could get some follow through, some continuation. How was the volume today? Somebody asked me if I look at volume, and I do, but it is what it is. It's, the candles really tell you everything, but the volume does help, especially at gaps, right? So how significant was the gap in the move? Like here you can see there's a big volume in this one, but it really doesn't mean anything. I mean, 'cause the next day it was kind of here and then it was green again, so. But anyway, I mean, it does. It means something, but not super significant. But yeah, so but yeah, it was a big move today. I mean, big breakout here over this level. So filled the gap. So it's coming up into a little bit of resistance here. So I would just be careful on that. It can be significant if you have big volume on a big buy, right? Sometimes it's a good idea, good place to get in. Twilio. Let's take a look. Oh my goodness, guys! Yeah, so Twilio, huge move today. This is another one that should have been on the radar. Inside week last week, and not sure why that didn't come up on the on my scan this weekend. But yeah, really nice move. It gave plenty of time to get it too. Right, open within that week, and there was your breakout point right there. What was that? Basically 141, and once it got over 141, right, which is basically right here. Giving a really, really nice momentum push on that one. So beautiful move on Twilio. This one did get increased volume today. So let's just go to our daily chart here. And with the stochastic, very, very nice. So we are up at this kind of pitchfork zone here and closed above it today. So that is also bullish, and it's still kind of moving up. So we could see it get to this kind of 151 type area. Was there any news on this today, or was it just totally technical, or did it get an upgrade at some point? Amazing, yeah, just a big move today. Very, very nice. Good. And then MDB. Yeah, MDB. Why did I take my eyes off of this one? It's been so hot. Let's see. So it's kind of doing its thing. This deserves an alert, right? If we can kind of get back over these levels. So this is your downward trend line, right? It gave you a minor pivot up. So really this kind of breakout here over this 158.45 could be good. So we'll keep an eye on that. Very nice. That might even go on the game plan. So we can start tracking it a little bit better. Yep, so MDB. I like it a lot. Nice. Good stuff. Best kept secret. Thank you so much. Yeah, yep. Sorry about the slide thing. Laura Bay, how's it going? Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon is also going to be on the list too for bullish. I mean, Amazon's tricky to trade, right? It's expensive. The options are expensive. But some folks do really well with Amazon and out of the money. And I think Call, I think you asked about that one time. It's when you trade in the money, you know how I love trading in the money. But this works really well for lottos, right? So let's just take a look at today. Here's a daily chart, very bullish, right? Kind of not quite bullish engulfing, but a nice continuation move today. If we go to the let's see what the candlesticks look like today. The key was somebody pointed out in the live stream this morning. We do a live stream for Positive Trend subscribers. We talked about the inside 15 today. And that was a nice breakout move, right? I mean, it didn't have orb type news on it. I mean, I guess Amazon's always got something going on. But this nice inside 15 really, really broke to the upside nicely. But what I want to show you is what an out of the money call looks like on Amazon real quick. The reason that it can work on Amazon is because it gets a lot of volume up there. There's a lot of supply and demand going on in the out of the money stuff. So hold on one second. Well, this data pulls up for us. Okay, so we closed today at like 1950, but let's just kind of see. If we were playing the weeklies, kind of out of the money, even up here, like around 2,000. Look at the volume that's up here. Just today alone, 6,700 options here at the 2,000. So if you're playing the 2,000s today, right? Let's take a look. Let's just overlap it with our chart and see how it looked. So we had the inside 15. So if you took that there, basically into the 9:45, right to 10 o'clock time frame, that breakout. Let's see what it looked like on these. So this is, I usually don't encourage too much out of the, far out of the money type stuff, but with Amazon, I mean, you can almost get away with it, right? So here's the move. That was your inside bar. Didn't quite break out on the third bar on the 10 o'clock bar, but it went inside on the option chart, right? So here you get in about 130. Let's say you caught it here, 144. Right, with a stop at the low of the day. Let's say even below there, 117. So 30-cent risk, right? And this thing went just on this bar alone, went from 144 up to like $2 over almost a point, right? And then it gave you an inside on this, and then it went all the way up to 283, right? So you can trade these with Amazon. I just want to let you guys know that. So anybody who doesn't trade Amazon, you don't have to be, too intimidated by. I mean, normally I'm always like in the money's, 0.70 delta, that type of stuff. And I understand they're like 20, 30 bucks, right? Sometimes more on Amazon. So, but look at where the volume is. If there's 6,000 options being traded, that's pretty good stuff. So at this point, Amazon just is kind of big picture. Amazon is working its way up. It's got this. We just talked about pitchforks, right? Big pitchfork stuff here. Right? I can't even go back that far. But big pitchfork stuff. There's a median line right here, right? So as it approaches this, notice how the stochastic is kind of starting to curl over, right? So just be careful, right? It could work its way up maybe this 1980 kind of range, and then it starts to curl over and work its way back down. So just be careful with that. Now it doesn't have to do that. It could kind of chop around and hold, and just kind of slowly work its way up into the earnings and Prime Day and all that stuff. So there is some potential with that, right? So just keep that in mind. Session Shop and Roku. Oh, I know they're both ridiculous. I know, it's incredible. Roku incredible and Shop also beautiful. So, so have you ever longed an option? Why or why not do you prefer swing trading? Not do you prefer swing? So yeah, so I'm more of a day trader by just by inclination. It's just what I feel most comfortable with, right? I like to take. I like to trade during the day. I like to be active during the day, and then when the day's over, I like to go to bed and not worry about my positions, right? So like where the futures are going to be in the morning, what happened, or what news, or what upgrades and downgrades might have happened to my stock, or what kind of news, right? So that is who I am, like principally, right? So I do more swing trading now, that. I have kind of a bigger picture of things, so. And come up with new strategies to do that. And then you can go, you can do that with kind of the more, larger term time frames, right? Like the weekly chart and the monthly chart and things like that. And also the kind of the daily chart, what kind of, patterns are setting up and things like that. So they are good. And, I start to do them more, but, just by inclination, I'm a day trader. And so I just like to capitalize on quick moves and, trying to grab those profits off of that. But yeah, there is that's just me. But I do a little more swing trading now. So I've got I think I've got like 2 open positions now. So yeah. Regini, Apple, Google, Giddy, IP, Melly, and SRPT. Yeah, let's take a look. So Apple. Yeah, so Apple today was a little bit funky, right? So give me a second here. So Apple's a little bit funky today. It got downgraded this morning, right? Somebody just decided to blast. Was it Rosenblatt? Decided to Rosenblast it today. So you had this kind of recent move here down. You had this kind of high from the weekend right here. So it pushed it right below this upward trend line, which is really kind of a pain. And so at this point, it needs to hold today's lows in order to continue to work its way back up. Plain and simple. Otherwise, it's a minor pivot, and then it works its way back down, and it gets ugly before earnings, right? Which is fine, right? So it might give us a nice reversal after earnings, but needs to hold. Otherwise, you get this gap right here. Island reversal. Well, it was almost an island reversal. It was starting to look like it at the time. But yeah, but it did fill a gap today. There's a closing gap below, which I don't know if it actually. I think it did. No. I've got another gap right here. So yeah, it has to hold today's lows to start staying strong. Otherwise, it goes after that gap there. And yeah, so we tried the 15 orb today. We watched the 15 orb today in the private Twitter. Let's take a look here. So it just did nothing. I mean, it tried to break down really quick, failed, and the price action was just so choppy today. This one gave like a triple inside 60-day, 1, 2, 3 inside bars, and then almost broke down, but it held the 15 orb level and then back up. So I mean, just so choppy today. So what that means is after the downgrade, like most people just don't care, right? So it got downgraded. It's like in a way this is kind of relative strength. It's not saying they were pushing it to new lows, right? It gave a nice bottoming tail on the 60-minute bar right here, and then just kind of chopped around. So that was Apple today. Google again is kind of. It was supposed to maybe gap up this morning, and like they were apparently going to do this deal with Dish today, and have their own cell network, whatever the case was, and then they denied that was actually happening. So it ended up actually gapping down, and then kind of going down. There was it would have been an interesting short this morning. It was very possible to get that, but it was off my radar this morning. I didn't have any alerts, but for all intents and purposes, it is starting to get weak. It got down below this dotted line here, which is the fib fan line. It's got some gaps below, right here, big gap, which is right back at the pitchfork. So it's like, we can take a look and see how it looks on the stochastic there too, right? It's starting to curl over as well, kind of making a pivot right there. So it's just Google's been really, really tough to trade recently. GDDY, choppy, small ranges, but here's kind of what you're looking at. Kind of downward until proven otherwise, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. It's below some key volumetric levels too. IP. Just pulling up. I'm waiting for data. I was like, international paper. 1 second. Here we are. Okay, made it. IP looks a little bit kind of choppy-ish too, right? So I think the fresh trend is down. I mean, right? So as long as it's bearish until proven otherwise, right? And the stochastic starting to curl over here too, right at this this kind of trend line. So just be careful with IP. It's a little bit bearish here before earnings. Melly. Bullish till proven otherwise, right? It's here's your high. From what I can tell, basically corresponds. The upward trend line corresponds directly with this fib fan line. So, so it may actually kind of come back a little bit. Maybe possibly eventually tag this 593 level and then go back up. But it looks like it gave you an inside day today, so it gives you something to at least look at for tomorrow. And then SRPT. All fun stocks to trade, by the way. Pretty nasty, right? This pretty nasty day today for this one. So had a big gap up big move the other day. What was the news the other day? Like a couple weeks ago. Price target raised. Yeah. So we got a big upgrade the other day. That would have been interesting. I think I do remember seeing that, but anyway, kind of this move is starting to break down a little bit. So watch a breakdown of today's lows. Enjoy life. Let's take a look at now. Yeah. Wow. Very bullish. I think it's been bullish for a while. We've been tracking this one for a little bit. So yeah, big move out of the pitchfork. Kind of creating its own destiny at this point. So here's your channel here. Channel here. So it's kind of working up this channel. It is just super bullish. We could kind of start classifying this maybe with some sort of Elliott wave pattern, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Could be working on wave 5 up. Might be working on a wave 3. 1, 2. Could be working on wave 3. I'm just very, very bullish. So just be careful, right? Because you just don't want to go blindly buying it, right? It could pull back here to this 270 level and then work its way back up again, right? So I would just wait, at this point, maybe see what it does. Darren, turnaround Tuesday? I hope so. Let's get some good stuff going on. Boston Goody. Session, what's going on? You sold some of your Disney. Okay, cool. Well, that's good. You grab a few wins. Okay, hopefully you can move and grab more Diz if it takes inside down. Right, yeah. Diz is going to be... It's going to have some opportunities on it. Let's take a look at win real quick and just see. Yeah, nice stuff here. Looks like inside day. I think there's been some option flow in this one too. Like I've seen it pop up on a few radars. You have here. Yeah, bullish until. Oh wait, missed some price here. Sorry, because we traded this one as a 15 orb recently. This one trades great on 15 orbs. When there's news. There's your high. There's a pivot, yeah. So bullish until proven otherwise. Nice gap up recently with all the positive gaming news, and it could maybe chop till it gets to this level and then go. So, but still, pretty much an inside day today, I believe. So, can definitely keep an eye on that as well. Wendy, how's it going? Good morning. MU and EPAM. So MU, beautiful move today. Tough to catch unless you're in it. And I think we had some subscribers who were in it too. But let's take a look. It's a couple rough days, and then got strong again. Let's go to the candlestick. It's easier to see. I mean, so that was the bar today. I mean, like, look at that. Inside 60, nice push to the upside. Let's look at the orb on this, right, with the rest of the semis. Here's your first 15-minute bar. Again, it wasn't no real news on it, but you had your first 15-minute bar right here, and then that broke up very nicely. Slight bull flag, and then back up. So MU has been really strong, but if we go to the daily chart, let's just kind of see. So a couple little doji days here. Failed to break to the downside. Very strong move today. So I guess I would imagine, if it stays strong, it could start to continue to work its way back up. MU has just always been tough for me to trade, though. And then EPM. Wow. That was a big bar today. Wow. Yeah, I think you asked about this one recently. Goodness gracious. So, I mean, just as a, chop, 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 big, bullish and really bullish, engulfing bar right here. Nice follow through today. Reminds me a bit of Roku. And just a monster. So yeah, bullish until proven otherwise there. Roku.